Hello and welcome to the What's Happening podcast with me, Matt.
And me, Johnny.
So yeah,
Back again.
Back
as
again.
One might say.
Things have changed.
Absolutely.
So yeah, as you can tell, there's a new branding to the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, a complete change,
Yeah.
as one would say.
It's like completely different now. But
So yeah, we haven't been about for the last, say, 6-7 months.
I think we've just been busy, to be honest. Like, once summer kind of ended, really, and we both kind of started working again. We just couldn't. There wasn't time, really.
There was no time really to do anything. I just feel like I don't have a life anymore.
Welcome to the working world.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a shame. But yeah, as I said, we haven't been here for a while, just with working and stuff. But now that we're back, we've kind of set a lot of time aside.
Yeah.
Rugby season's over for me, so I mean, it didn't really
Wow. Yeah.
begin. Played 3 games, but anyway, a lot more time kind of at the weekends now to do it. So we've been talking about this for the last couple of months about rebranding, just making it a bit more modern. As you can see with the
It's a bit more, I think, both our jobs are quite, what's the right word without slagging them?
monotonous.
Well, not monotonous, it's more like...
Well, maybe not for you.
No, definitely not for me, but I think just with the whole, like, ID thing in both our jobs,
Yeah.
it kind of gets into a bit of sticky territory, so we thought we'd go for something which isn't... Unless you knew us, you wouldn't really know kind of
Yeah.
what it is or like who we are type thing.
Yeah, just kind of making it a bit more chilled,
Yeah.
laid back.
It's a bit more appealing to people that don't know us as well.
Yeah, completely. And we're hoping that this will be bigger and better than it was.
Absolutely.
Because it did start well, and it was kind of a shame that we didn't have time to progress it. But definitely for this coming year, we're going to put a lot into it and bring in a lot more guests.
Yeah.
Not focus so much on sport as we did with the last podcast.
Yeah.
We're kind of, clues in the name, What's Happening podcast. We can't call it the What's Happening podcast because obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but that has been
It's been
trademarked.
taken, so we've stuck in a G there.
Yes. To make it completely unique.
Absolutely.
So yes, complete new title, new branding, and I think it's gonna go really well. Definitely a lot planned for this year. Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my first question. What's been happening over the last year? You say the name of the podcast is What's Happening, so
I get you.
sweet.
I like that.
Thanks. that I stood up all night thinking of that, you know.
Did you?
Yeah.
What a sad little life.
Well, here.
What's been happening in my life? Well, I got a new job, which I do like. I do like my job. So, but sometimes it can be a bit monotonous.
Yeah.
But no, I do like it. What else have I done? Recovered from my knee surgery.
Yes, I think at the end of the last podcast, you just done it.
Yeah.
Or you were just getting your surgery done.
I just done my ACL and meniscus in my left, but we're all good now. Went to the hospital appointment last week.
No hair.
All good.
Sorted.
He kind of looked at me when I said I was back playing. He kind of looked at me like, "You're a fool."
Yeah,
And
I think we all
I'm a
did,
fool.
to be fair. Like, you turned up to football one night and everybody was like, "Are you sure?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
In fairness, I think I'm getting back.
All the way back.
Yeah. So knees getting good.
How did you find your recovery from it?
It was tough, but it was better than the last time because I kind of knew what I needed to do.
Well, I think, like, for anybody that's like not sporty out there, if you do your ACL, it's probably one of the most serious things you can do, just in your knee. So,
Yeah.
like, years ago, this would have been like a complete career ender for like any sports person. But now I think people know how to treat it and how to recover from it better. So
Yeah, and I think It generally is all about your rehab.
Yeah.
Like, people can get this done and not rehab as well, and it's really going to impact you long term. So I kind of knew you got to really make that put a lot of focus into getting it stronger, building your quad and your hamstrings back up, and get my calves strong again.
Like, as soon as you did it, you were on the bike and stuff.
Yeah,
just getting the motion back into it.
I was like, you gotta kind of keep it strong even before surgery, because that's called prehab. So if your prehab's good, then it makes it easier for your rehab.
Yeah.
I sound like I know this. I really don't. I'm just talking rubbish. But yeah, no, we're back stronger, getting back to football, getting back to rugby. I'm still not fully there, but
it'll take time though. Like, how long were we out for? Like 9 months, probably longer. So,
but we did. I don't know if I explained it before, but we went to Newcastle on a rugby tour last year. I think it was end of May time, and I went with the intention of just standing at the side and watching.
Sure, we believe you.
No, I did, but I did bring my boots in case someone forgot.
Oh, it just conveniently took your boots, of course.
So we went into Newcastle on the Saturday, most of Saturday, and yeah, just had a few drinks here and there. Kind of boosted the confidence. It was a good vibe. Got back literally 10 minutes before kickoff, and I thought,
the knee's feeling good here. Like, where are my boots again?
I could have a real crack at this. So my friend Adam was like, "Oh, you need to strap it up," and I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll do that." I literally got a line of tape and taped it round, and then I came out of. We were staying in these like big army tents at the side of the pitch, and I think everybody looked at me like, "You're an absolute fool." So yeah, it's the wonders of alcohol, what it can do to you.
Absolutely.
It just boosts your confidence that little bit. So yeah, played.
Although, just disclaimer, like, we do not like
advise this. No, yeah, completely.
Although if it happens, it happens. But oh well.
So played the tournament. It was good. It was really good fun. But there was one point where the other team had dropped the ball, and I kicked it through, but I thought someone else would have been at the side of me to pick up the ball or something.
Yeah.
But nobody was there. I looked around, and then I started kicking the ball up the field to try and obviously score at the other end, and he had dropped it in the R22. Mm-hmm. So this is basically 3/4 of a pitch I'm running with no ACL at all here. And the worst part was it was on my left side, so I was having to kick it with my left side. It was hilarious, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm honestly gonna die here.
Yeah.
My leg's just gonna fall off.
Yeah.
But we made it in the end. So
both legs are still firmly attached.
They were firmly attached, but yeah, that's basically what's happened in my life. What about you?
Just still working away. I'm now officially a master though. I'm a master of education.
Jedi master.
I wish it was Jedi, probably be more useful, but yeah. So
congratulations.
Thanks very much. So you have to call me Master Jonathan. No biggie.
That's probably never happening.
Okay, until I get a doctorate, but
Are you getting a doctorate? Are you doing?
No. So, well, unless somebody wants to give me money for it, then I'll do it. But no plans at the minute. But yeah, I don't know. Like, that's pretty much it. It was over like 2 years, so this was the last year of it. So finished it in September, and then just been working away. Really, just pretty chilled, pretty low key.
I've got a question for you.
Oh, here we go.
Like, what's it like working with kids on a day-to-day basis? Because I know that. So I do a bit of work in the church, kind of working with older kids, and I kind of find that a bit of a struggle sometimes. But like, I know you teach P7, is it? Or
well, every year I've done everything. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some of them just melt you. You're like, I just cannot be bothered with you.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, you can have like good crack with them.
Yeah. There's a lot of rewards to it.
Yeah, like the older they get, obviously when they're P7, they're getting ready to move on to big schools, so they start to get a wee bit big for their boots and stuff, so you're having to kind of manage
just pipe down
that. Yeah, you're kind of like trying to manage them that way.
Yeah.
But then at the other end, like when they're too young, everything goes over their head, so it's just like really basic.
Yeah.
Having to talk to them like
this is how...
That's basically how I talk to Matthew, but
alright.
no, but like it is rewarding. Then the school I'm in has some like units as well, so I've been teaching speech and language units and in like social communication, so it is like rewarding. But I think it's, people always say you have to have like a calling for it almost, but it's kind of like, at the time I was training, didn't really know what else to do, so kind of fell into it that way. But like you, I've always kind of been doing stuff like working with kids and everything, so it's just like natural to go into it.
You'll be a principal soon. How scary.
Not soon. I haven't got like a permanent job yet, but
okay, but you're still young.
Yeah, that's true. I've only been out 3 years. This is my 3rd year. Yeah, haven't had a full year of teaching yet because of the Rona, but we'll get on to that in a couple of minutes.
Yes, the old Rona.
Absolutely. But yeah, I like, unless you have like experience working with kids, it's hard to explain to somebody, because people are like, oh, I can never do that. But
see, I could never have imagined you being a teacher.
Even now, like, I don't know how I'm allowed to like have a class of 30 children without any of them like getting hurt or anything. I don't know.
But this is what I'm saying. I always think back to when I was in primary school, and you used to think these teachers, I'm not belittling teachers here, don't worry.
Go for it.
But I'm just saying, you used to think these people were a fountain of knowledge, and there are people who are that, but I now look at my friends who I've grown up with and they're now teachers, and I go, are you being serious? I've been absolutely fooled for years.
Absolutely. Oh, like even working with teachers, like it's like knowing medical students, you wouldn't want them treating you. Like, let's be honest here. It's the same as like anybody who knows me is probably like, I don't want like, I can't imagine him teaching like my kids.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird when you make that shift, and you see that people who you thought were really smart, were really important, knew everything, and now that you've got these people who you've grown up with, and it's probably because you know different sides to them, that you're,
well, like, you've seen them in different scenarios where you wouldn't really see them unless you weren't friends with them. Exactly.
And you're like, sorry, are you actually being trusted to perform surgery on someone?
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing.
Like, it's the same with teaching though. Like, whenever you're young and stuff, obviously you have your own friend group and stuff, but then whenever you become a teacher, everybody shifts and it's like, oh, he must be quite sensible. Whereas realistically, no. Like, I'm still as idiotic and as stupid as I was when I was like younger. It's just now I'm legally allowed to teach in a school, which is wild. Scary. Yeah. To be fair, like, my first year of teaching, I remember going into school, and I was in P7, and they were like, they just done their AQE, so they're starting to move on to like year 8, like numeracy and stuff. So I went in, or I think it was literacy or something, and I went in, and the plan for the day, I was like, I haven't a clue what this is. Yeah. So this is at like 8:30 in the morning, the kids come in at 8:45. I was literally Googling what these things were that I had to teach. So, like, yeah, even now there's stuff where I'm like, right, I actually need to know what I'm doing here.
That's hilarious.
Like, most of my time in the school I'm in has been like Key Stage 1, so it's manageable. It's like how to add and stuff.
Oh, right.
It's like, it's not quite finding like algebra and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
But yeah, just,
oh no, that's good. No, it's good, the fact that we're both busy, I think, because I remember before we did the last podcast, I just come out of uni and I was bored as.
I think that was part of the motivation behind doing it, because like it was starting to get into summer and we both hadn't really much to do, and then Corona was going on, but we'll get that later. So we were kind of like, well, what do we both enjoy doing? And I think listening to the Pat McAfee show, I think kind of, because we saw what he was doing over, he's like a former NFL player who's just smashing it at the minute.
Yeah,
so just seeing what
wrestling has his own show, which I think he sell the rights for 70 million or something,
like that. Yeah.
So yeah, that podcast is just blowing up, and I think that was just part of our motivation, because we like to talk absolute nonsense. Like, remember that we would just go up to McDonald's on a Sunday or
100%.
Saturday night and just sit and talk nonsense for a good 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, so this is basically you listening to our conversations now. This is like what we like chat about. Yeah.
But yes, on to the Rona.
Yes.
Thank goodness that's finished.
We did it.
We did.
Are you a COVID survivor?
I am. But here's the thing: people are going to think you're so bad. I think I had it last week.
Oh.
I did do a test when I didn't feel 100%, and it was negative. But as it got worse throughout the week, I just was like, I've got too much to do.
Yeah.
I can't do a test. But let me say, it wasn't anything outside of the house. It's just work related.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to be off.
It's fair enough though. Like, I think people are now, it hasn't exactly gone away, but people are like, oh well.
Like you look at England, nobody wears masks anymore.
No.
And even here.
Like I went to Tesco the other day for the first time in a while, and I had my mask in my pocket, but I just forgot because nobody else was wearing it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. It wasn't until I came out and reached into my pocket I was like, oh, I have my mask here, because nobody else was wearing it. So I was just kind of like, well, people have forgotten it quite quickly after 2 years of it kind of floating about.
But no, I am just happy that it's kind of over, because it stressed me out a wee bit, because everybody else was stressed out, and I'm like, why am I so laid back here?
Yeah.
Why am I not stressed out? So that made me stressed out, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I got to the point where I think we went to play, or we were throwing the American football about, and my mum was like, well, just make sure you wash your hands after you've touched the ball and everything. And I was like, the chances of you having it at that point, bear in mind this is after the very first lockdown, so there wasn't even that many cases compared to last year or whatever. It's just right, you need to chill out a wee bit, because you're starting to worry yourself. Just relax.
But I think that was the whole problem. A lot of people were just really stressing other people out and making a bigger deal than it was. Yeah. And I get, for people who had underlying health issues, it was stressful. But I just think it was made a far bigger deal than it needed to be. And I just don't think, I'm not a politics guy, and I don't get into politics, but I generally think the way it was handled compared to the likes of New Zealand and Australia was pretty poor. So
yeah, I know here is a bit different, but UK had, well, they're an island, so they can literally just be like, nah, you're not coming in. As soon as the first case popped up in Italy, they should have been like, we're going to get ahead of this, we're just not allowing anybody in. We'll give out temporary visas for UK people that want to come back or whatever, but that's too big a risk to kind of, I mean, that's exactly what Australia did. They were like, nah.
Yeah, and I think that was the best thing to do. Just stop everything from happening. I remember, I don't actually think there were fans. I was watching the Super Rugby the other day. I don't think there were fans in the stadium.
I think they still have them limited.
So it's interesting to see it that way, whereas now there's nightclubs and everything over here.
Even in the news, it used to be the first thing you heard in the news. Now it's maybe a 30-second clip telling you how many people have tested positive. And let's be honest, whenever I had COVID, I didn't record it. Yeah. I did a test and everything, it was positive, but I didn't put it up anywhere. It didn't say that whoever does it over here, the Department of Health, that I had it. Yeah. So how many people? The numbers aren't a true reflection, because people don't bother recording it. But then when my parents got it, my dad was military operation. He had to record everyone.
Oh,
I was
serious?
like, Paul, come on, while you're necking.
But no, it's good to see places are open again. Speaking of which, you been out much?
Actually, no.
No.
I honestly can't remember the last time I was out in Belfast.
I was out last night.
Of course, we party animal.
But I'm not. You know what I love? I just love going to Cathedral Quarter in Belfast and just listening to live music, sitting having a few drinks.
There's actually no better place. Like, I've been out for dinner and stuff and walked through Cathedral Quarter, and you can hear the music coming from the Duke of York, the Harp Bar, and Thirsty Goat and everything. Like, out in the street. It's such a good vibe. Like,
we went to Granny Annie's beforehand, and the music was class, but there was a bunch of girls who I don't know what they had to drink. They just started getting up and doing Irish dancing. I'm just like, what are you doing? You know, everybody was just kind of like, like it was fun. Like the first time I was kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool, class, you can Irish dance. And then they just started screaming, and I was kind of like, right, how about you just pipe down here and just enjoy your drinks?
Yeah. That's the thing about Belfast. There's some rare characters about.
Proper rare breeds. Pretty sure they're from the country as well.
Well, there you go. That's why.
First night out in the
big smoke.
The big smoke. The big smoke.
Absolutely.
I have to tell you a funny story.
Let's go.
So, one of my friends, he was meeting a girl, just for, I think it was their first date.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna say who it is or where it was, because people will probably be able to.
I think we can already guess who it is.
Yeah. So we went to the place with him before she had turned up, just for a couple of drinks, and we were just gonna leave him. But she was so late. Like, I'd say like 45 minutes. Here, I would have left after 15.
Yeah, like at what point do you say, nah, if you're gonna be this late, like,
exactly,
do one.
So she was 45 minutes late, and I had hung about for so long with a couple of the other guys, and I was like, right, I'm just gonna go in here, go to the toilet, see how he's doing. So I walked in the front door, and I didn't realize she was there, and she was there with him. And you know me, I'm really awkward in situations. Yeah. So what do? I just walk in, make direct eye contact with her, and then proceed to look at the roof and just stare at the roof and walk past. And so the next morning, he texts me and was like, "You're an idiot. She knew that you were one of my friends." And I'm like, "How?" And he was like, "Well, by the way you walked in, you made it pretty obvious." And I'm like, "I thought I was pretty subtle, to be fair."
Yeah, but you thinking you're subtle is like, you may as well have a fluorescent green suit on.
I know.
Like, there's just nothing subtle about it.
So, yeah.
Although, like, I think a lot of people are the same when they're put. I know I'm the same. When you're put in awkward situations, you don't know what to do. You're just there like.
I talk to myself. I don't know what's wrong with me. But do you ever watch, you know, Madagascar, when the penguins are like, "Smile and wave, boys"?
Yeah.
That's just me. I think that to myself. I'm like, just smile and wave, just smile and wave.
Sometimes you just need to. You're just like, oh, right, how can I make the situation less awkward?
Have you got any awkward situations that you'd like to share?
If I put me on the spot here, and I think like the nature of being a teacher is just generally like being in awkward situations.
What
with
about
like
parents?
Kids and parents?
Because I know
parents are lovely. Yeah. There's a few.
sarcastic.
Yeah, there's a few that you're kind of like, right, whatever.
Because a lot of parents expect a lot from their children, so to get a lot from their children, they want the best teaching.
Yeah, but at the same time, if your child, sometimes your child just, I'm sorry, but it gets to a stage where it's beyond my control.
He's not going to university. It's like, you know, in grown-ups.
Well, secondary school either, but.
You know, in grown-ups, when I think it's, I think grown-ups too, the little guy, and he was just like, "We're going to school. We need to get to school for 9:30. If we leave now, it'll only take us 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, sorry, 9:10. And then the guy's like, "Well, the good news is we don't have to pay for college." It's probably like that with some parents.
Actually, like, I know they want the best for their children, but like they don't really help.
Yeah.
They kind of expect it all to be done in school, whereas realistically, you can tell generally as a teacher you can tell which parents work at home and which don't.
That's interesting.
Like, it's very clear. As soon as you walk into a classroom, you can tell.
I feel sorry for my parents because I think they did try a lot with me, but I was just a hopeless case.
Oh, see, I defied expectations. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but
This is his story, everyone. He, there wasn't much expected of young Jonathan.
Absolutely not. So
he pulls it out of the bag, basically.
So we'll take it back to, when did I start school? 2000 and... I think the way my birthday works, I started school in whatever year. Or I went into whatever year the year ended with. So 2001 started P1, 2002 started P2.
Yep.
So kind of went to Belmont, went to Strandtown. So the only year I think my parents weren't phoned because of something I had done in school. Which I had or hadn't done in school, because I'm convinced I didn't do half the stuff that I was accused of. Yeah. Probably did, but can't remember. But kind of went through school, was fine. Only year didn't get parents' phone was P3. Thanks, Mrs. Jackson. Probably could have, but still.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Literally, just need the outcast hair going. But, so ended up P6. Was put on report by Miss Beggs. Yeah. So I had her for P5 and P6. Like, but she kind of knew how to like handle me, kind of, because I was always like annoying everybody, which is fair enough. So she basically bribed me. So if I like got a clean report, she would have bought me, or she would have got me shit-out cards from back in the day. But this is the thing, she never got me the shit-out cards, so I'm still holding the grudge. So if I ever find her again, I'm going to be like, you owe me like 3 packs of shit-out cards.
So you've been absolutely swindled there?
Absolutely.
Wait,
yeah.
So did you actually get a clean report to get?
No, I needed to, but like I did. Because I was like, I'm getting shit-out cards here. Those were like...
What are the odds the next time you ever see her just be like, where's those match attacks?
Well, I don't know what school she's in now. I don't think she's in Strandtown anymore.
Right.
So, have to get my shit-out card somewhere. But, like, had her in P6 and she kind of had me figured out. But then P7 came around and we were doing practice papers and I was like, I was just an idiot. Like, I was getting like 40 and 50% and everything. So then I ended up going to a tutor on a Saturday morning before football. So, like, yeah, exactly. So I had to basically go and sit for, I think it was like an hour with this like teacher who kind of like did numeracy and literacy and went through practice papers with me and stuff. But then I thought it was really bizarre at the time. She was like, what do you have for break? And I was like, well, I just take like whatever's in the house, like a biscuit or something, or a packet of crisps. And she was like, right, well, I want you to take in a banana and you have to eat a banana every single break time. Because she thought the problem was that
low potassium levels.
Well, that could have been it. But she kind of thought that whenever, because my literacy was always better than numeracy, but numeracy was done after break. So she thought by the time numeracy was coming around, I was like tired. I just didn't have any energy to kind of learn anything.
Okay.
So she basically didn't force me, but she coerced me into eating a banana every single break time to kind of keep my energy levels up for numeracy. So she started this in, must have been about September. I think I was even started it in P6, just to kind of get used to it. But I think I started this whole banana eating malarkey in like September, and I continued it the whole way through until the 11 plus as it was back then in November or December or something. And like I was predicted a D at my parents' interview and I ended up getting an A, and I'm convinced it's because I had a banana every single break time. Like, I'm completely convinced it is.
I'm sorry, that's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
I'm actually convinced that it's because I had a banana. So not that there would be, but any P6, 7s out there eat a banana every day. Banana day keeps the bad grades away. There you go.
Well, you've heard it here first. You have heard it here
and
first.
That's what's happening, so yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm like totally convinced.
Talking about tutors.
Oh, here we go.
So I used to go to a maths tutor.
Could have guessed.
Alright. Leave that out. Until I think it was 4th year and 5th year. Numeracy wasn't my strongest point. But anyway. It was weird. Her house always smelt of dinner. It was like one of those old houses. She always had her dinner before my session was at like 6. And I was sitting in the room one day and she had, I think it was a cat. But I wasn't feeling well in school that day. I've been letting off some serious farts, right? And it came to, I would usually go in about just before 6 and wait until the next person's finished. And she usually didn't come into the room. She just opened the door and then I would come in. But so I was sitting there and I was letting it absolutely rip. Felt so ill. Pretty sure I just had bad food poisoning, whatever. Anyway, so she opens the door and this girl walks in and she was like, oh, such and such just has to wait here for her parents. Honestly, that room stank. Like, it was grim. And the cat was in the corner and I went to her. I was like, I think there's something wrong with your cat because it absolutely stinks in here. So yeah,
that's ridiculous. Did you what did you do with the cat? Did she just like,
she's just like, oh, I'll need to have a look at it. I get that checked.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fun times. Anyway, on to kind of what's happened with sport in the last year. As people will know in their last podcast, we focus a lot on sport, and we still will focus a bit on sport, but
probably not as much because it's not everybody's taste.
Yeah. So bad year for Man United.
Yep, so far.
Yeah,
could get worse.
Just after this, we finish recording this, it'll be Man United versus Everton, and two awful teams. It'll be a pretty poor game, but I think there'll actually be a lot of goals because both teams suck.
I don't know, there's something wrong with both of them, like just the way they're both run. I think Man United isn't. I think Gary Neville was saying it's not a football club, it's a commercial business now.
Completely agree. Yeah,
like they're more interested in the profits they get out of selling shirts in Asia and Australia than they are in like winning the Premier League now.
Which is so sad because a football club is built, well, especially Man United was built on winning trophies year after year, winning the league year after year, and I'm now sitting watching Man City do it. Like, no harm. Man City will never be Man United, which I love, but they're starting to creep up, and you're like, this club was nothing when I was growing up, and now they've suddenly just
the longer it goes on, though, the more City fans will be piping up saying you haven't won a trophy in, or you haven't won the league in 10 years.
That pains
20
me
years.
Because it is true.
Yeah, but at the same time, like every club goes through rebuilding,
and we've got hopefully Erik ten Hag coming in from Ajax, who is, I think, the perfect fit to strip it all back, build up from the youth system, get rid of half these players. Like, they're good individuals, but they don't work well as a team.
No.
So get rid of them, build it up from a youth system, and I'm telling you now, and people will be like, oh, you're just biased. If he does what he did at Ajax, Man United will be competing with Liverpool and City within, I'd say, the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think he needs to be given free rein to kind of do whatever he wants. So you take control of all the staff that come in. So all your coaches, all your scouting, all your physios, all your whatevers.
Yeah.
All your not admin, that's a bit different, but all your kind of football side of it, leave all the business stuff to somebody else. Get your transfers right. So give him whatever control he wants over transfers.
Yeah.
And then let him bring in his own people to run the youth department. Because
100%.
like players coming through, the manager only has certain control over what the senior team's doing, but if he can get control over what the youth team is doing and he can implement that style of play, every single youngster that comes out of that team are going to be playing the same way. It's like what City are doing.
I think a lot of the youth players are playing different style, and then they're getting to the first team and they're like, oh, well, I don't have as much freedom to do this.
Yeah,
I'm stuck here in a position that I'm not comfortable with. Completely different tactics, and you've got big egos in that United team. So
sure, well, like if you take Mourinho as an example, you had So if you're a young player and you're playing in the Man United youth system, you're battering teams every week, playing attacking football under probably the time Kieran McKenna, who's from Fermanagh or somewhere. So if he's trying to make you play attack and then you're called up to the senior team by Mourinho, and you're basically told, if you're a centre midfielder, you're told you're going to play centre back.
Yeah.
And like, we don't want you to play your normal game. So everything you've been doing for the last 8 years at a youth team level, you're now being told, no, you're not doing it. We're playing 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, but you're not allowed to move out of your position. You're going to be like, right, okay. But then it's Mourinho, so you'll be like, right, okay, I trust him.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where it's just not.
Sure, that happened with Paddy McNair. He played centre defensive midfield, and then Van Gaal was like, right, you're going into centre back because we have no other centre backs. And fair play to him. He did
plays everywhere now. Like we were at me and my dad were at the Northern Ireland game against Hungary, and he was playing right back.
Oh really?
Yeah, or right midfield or something. Like he was
utility player.
Yeah, he's like the new Stuart Dallas.
So yeah, Leeds.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
it's interesting. Yeah. This time last year, like everything was so like positive, and now we're kind of like, yeah, we'll see.
I think he'll stay up.
Yeah, I think at this point, if we went down, it would be like I don't know. Burnley would have to win nearly all of their games.
Yeah.
Everton would have to win nearly all of their games. I look at it as Burnley aren't going to win 2 more games than Leeds from now to the end of the season. Everton could, because Everton have the quality to kind of just turn it on.
Yeah.
But they just haven't, because it's just been one of those seasons for them. But like, we haven't played with our full starting 11, like our best starting 11 all year.
Yeah.
Phillips has been out. I wouldn't say Bamford is our best striker. I think Gelhardt is.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Controversial.
Yeah. He's quicker. He can finish better. He knows where to be more. Bamford's good at holding it up. That's about it. But Gelhardt, he came on against Leicester and basically gave the Leicester players heart attacks, and he won a penalty. But like Bielsa didn't play him again after. And then he's come on in the last couple of games, and he's made a difference when he's come on. Scored the winner against Norwich, maybe, I think, in the last minute. Like, he's an impact player, so I don't get why you don't play him from the start. They kind of terrify teams. I think we'll be okay.
No, he's will be fine.
Yeah.
He'll get through it, especially with the new Yankee at the helm.
Jesse Marsh, yeah. See, this is the thing though, like Bielsa, there's talk that Bielsa was never going to stay after this year. This would have been his last year, so the board have been tapping up Jesse Marsh to take over for a year or 2 now.
Oh, so he kind of knew what he was coming into.
Yeah, so instead of potentially being in the championship and Jesse Marsh taking over, they pulled the trigger and brought him in early, just to, because if they didn't do it and they got relegated, they'd be kicking themselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time now, if they get relegated now, they can say, well, we tried to fix it. So yeah, I think they need to invest a lot in the summer though, because Leeds squad is too small. Like, over the summer they bought a whole load of under 23 players, but yes, they're under 23 players and they're good for under 23s, but making that step up, I don't see the point in buying under 23 players unless they can make an impact in the first team.
Yeah, you gotta get
exactly like
strong,
like,
first team
the way Leeds season has gone with so many injuries. They haven't had any replacements to play. They've been playing players out of position all year. There's been games where they've had 5 or 6 under 18s on their bench because they just haven't had the senior players.
Yeah.
So they kind of need to invest and actually get in first team players. Like, I was saying to my dad, like, if you went down to the championship at the end of the season and picked 5 of the top performers from non-promoted teams, everybody wants to play in the Premier League. Nobody's going to want to play in the championship for Blackburn. Like, if you said to them, we'll give you 5 million for this player, depending on who it is, they'll be like, yeah, sweet, because half of them need the money anyway.
Yeah,
it's like Derby. If Derby don't get promoted, don't stay up this year, you could go into them and rate them for all they're worth, because they need the money and they have their players. Yeah.
Well, on to rugby now, and big game today. Well, we're recording this on Saturday, so probably be out a couple of days time. Possibly be Monday when this is out. So yes, Ulster are playing the first leg of the Champions Cup against Toulouse in Toulouse.
It's a tough game.
Tough game.
That's probably the toughest game that you could get, probably.
Yeah, but I think they're excited for it. They're up for it. Shout out to Michael and James. Hopefully,
you should get them on again.
Oh yeah,
get them on again. See how things have changed. Because whenever we did it first, no Ireland caps.
No Ireland caps.
Just breaking through into Ulster, but now they're probably two of the first names on the sheet.
Yeah.
Probably beside Henderson and Vermeulen if he's fit.
Yeah, so definitely get them on again, and I'm sure they're absolutely buzzing to play against some of the best players in the world, the likes of Antoine Dupont, Intimac. Is
Colby
still there?
I think so.
Unreal.
It's Chaz and Colby.
On the wing.
So it's wild. Like,
I'm sure
it must be weird for you though, seeing them grow up and now they're playing against
it's so
the best
strange
players.
because you play with them all through school. I remember saying to James on night out, it's weird seeing them on TV, but because you know them just as guys from school, your friends. But no, it's class, especially watching them for Ireland. I was down actually watching the Italy game and seeing Michael score 2 and James playing a really good game. Like it was really good to see that, and they deserve it. Like, people will be like, "Oh, you're just saying that." Like they do. You know, they've put in the work. You can see the work they've put in.
Even from like an outside point of view, like everybody who was in a rugby school knew of Mikey Lowry and James Hume.
Yeah,
everybody.
Exactly, and I think from speaking to them, it really does take a lot of work and a lot of effort to get to where they are, and you know, fair play to them.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can get a win in Toulouse, but I'm going next week to watch the one at Ravenhill, which will be absolutely packed.
Bouncing.
And I think to knock Toulouse out of the Champions Cup, the current holders, I'd say they're the best club team in Europe. Apart from Leinster, obviously.
Well, Leinster hitting everybody for 50 and 60 at the minute.
It would just be really good, and I think it would be a real buzz for the season, just because Ulster are doing well in the league. So I think if you could get a result against Toulouse, it will really boost the confidence for the season amongst the whole squad.
Little question for you, little rugby trivia.
Oh.
When was the last playoff game Ulster had in the Heineken Cup?
The last playoff game?
Yeah.
Was it not against Toulouse? Oh no, were they in their group? You know what? I'm gonna look like an absolute idiot here.
I can give you options if you want.
Give me A, B, or C.
2014, 2015, 2016.
It wasn't that long ago, surely. Surely it wasn't that long. 2016.
I think it was 2014.
Oh, you think? So you don't actually have the answer?
No, because this is I entered a competition to I think it's to win seats in the grandstand for the Toulon game or Toulouse.
Okay.
And they asked that question, and the only three options you had were 2014, 2015, 2016. So me being smart, I googled the answer, and apparently it's 2014.
Ah.
So there you go.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I thought the options were going to be 2018, 2019, 2020, and then I probably would have gone for 2019.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, obviously, 2020 would have knocked it out.
I remember going to the Odyssey, watching Ulster versus Leinster in the Heineken Cup final. They put it on the big screen. I think that was at Twickenham. Got absolutely smashed, but it was, fair play to them for getting to the final.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully they can do a good job, and
I think they will. They're a solid team.
Yeah, I think
the young Irish guys, even Rob Balakin and everything coming through.
Yeah,
Ethan McElroy as well.
They've just got really good squad depth, and they've got experience in there, so the mix is really good and well balanced. So they just need to play to their strengths and just be upfront and physical with this.
You need
Toulouse team, and if you match them for their intensity, I think you're going to get a result there.
I think in rugby, a lot of the time, if you can match a team's intensity, you have a good chance.
But
there's obviously teams like the All Blacks and South Africa who are just that much better than just the skill set. It's a lot better.
It's just different.
But I think it's different at club level.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything else?
I think that's all we kind of had.
Just for the first
episode.
Just for the first episode.
Ease us back in.
Yeah, as I say, keep an eye on the social medias. We're still working on changing those up, but you should see within the next couple of days all the changes to the previous podcast page.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see the complete new rebranding, which a lot of work has gone into.
Yes.
Had to make a few changes due to copyright issues.
Yeah.
Trademarks, all that shenanigans. But we will be back again next week with a new episode. We're still planning a few guests, so we'll be able to let you know some of the guests who will be coming on within the next month or so. But yeah, exciting times. Times.
Good to be back.
It is good to be back.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has been the What's Happening with a G podcast.
Nice.
With me, Matt.
And me, Johnny.
And we'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, see you later.